Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation. Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 24th day of July, folks. Got a great show with you for tonight. Got really good sound bites for everybody. Sorry, it looks like my tie. I just got my suit dry cleaned and it's a little stiff. Okay. Anyways, great show with you all for tonight here on Sports, the Real Sports Scope here. A lot from the Hard Knocks episode 4. Really good sound bites here. Little bit talk about that Drake May trade. It didn't go through for the Giants. Also the owner, he talks about the John Mara 20 years ago when they traded a load up to get Eli Manning, and he got some sound on that. Also, the team was really in love. I got a sound bite from the wide receiver coach about Malik Neighbors, so that wasn't hey, this is our guy no matter what, blah blah blah. Really good stuff. Also, big deal in the NBA, a massive multi-million-dollar, want to say 11, it's either 7 or 11. Either way, it's a lot of money to broadcast NBA's. A lot of money to broadcast the NBA and the WNBA on multiple team streaming networks. 77. This is real, folks. The NBA announces $77 billion deals with ESPN, NBC, Amazon, and TNT threatens to sue. I'll get into that. That one is interesting there. That one is interesting. No TNT. Now, this is the 25-year. And this is not going to be this coming up season. It's going to be next season, not the season coming up. Have my thoughts on that. And also, Deshaun, I got to feel bad for this guy. But it's a lesson learned about Deshaun Foster. Very bad opening press conference here to start the season here. New head coach for UCLA there. I'll talk about that and a few other news and notes from around the way. But let's take our first and only break. And I'll be back here after a few short announcements. We'll hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports. Thanks.
All righty. John McGraw, Mac there. I'm on Roku TV there on the National Streaming Sports channel there. Want to thank them for providing that. And thank you, Mac and Linda there. Okay. Also working on possibly next week, Rich Ferris coming on the program. Going to talk Titans camp. He's got a lot of insights to the Tennessee Titans, one of the more interesting teams in the NFL. And I've got a few other big-time possible guests. I'll tease it this way because I have not confirmed anything, but an internet sensation. Okay, she's an internet sensation, local here out of Tennessee, and I'll keep it at that. She's got a lot of followers, a rising star. But that's something I'm working on through work. Not sure if she's going to be able to come on, if we can pull it off. But I've made some contacts with that, and I'll keep it at that. Okay. The reason why I dig so much into this Hard Knocks stuff, because it takes you inside the general manager's room and coach's room and even the owner there involved of big moves that they're about to make, that plan the season, and you got a good insight of what they're talking about behind the scenes here to put together a football team there. And the reason why I'm going to play a lot of this stuff is to really verify, solidify what I've been saying is very close, especially this clip I'm going to play a little bit later about if you all watch the draft show with myself and the Mad New Yorker and the homework that I've done with the biggest players available, putting together multiple, looking at research and teams' needs in the NFL draft with mock drafts and just putting together good, solid, educated guesses it's much closer. After I play some of these bites here, particularly some towards the end of this long segment we got coming up, for those of you that watch this show all the time, you're like, man, you are just about as close as a non-NFL employee as you're going to get. I mean, that's why this is the most influential. You hear that term, influential sports talk show in the country, is because of the work that I put in, okay? And the guests that and the good guests that put in the work too. Your Mad New Yorkers of the world, okay? And the people working behind the scenes here, mainly myself. But, I do have some help from friends and family on occasion. But anyways, so first we're going to play wide receiver coach Mike Groff after meeting with all three wide receivers that I said that would go in the top 10, and they did. Rome Odunze out of Washington, Marvin Harrison, the big favorite there for most on most boards, number one. But Malik Neighbors, a guy that really exploded onto the scene out of LSU, LSU and Ohio State, particularly LSU, just a flood of great wide receivers. Your Jamar Chases of the world, your Justin Jeffersons. Neighbors out of that LSU threshold there, jumping up, taking the ball out of defenders' hands. Very explosive. As I mentioned, just a big-time play. Very Randy Moss-like, if you ask me. A little bit of A.J. Brown as well with those strong hands. Guy just go up, take the ball, and win big games here with that breakaway speed that he has. But here is the owner asking Mike Groff, the wide receiver coach, directly, what do you think about this room? And let me play it, and you be the judge here.
Excellent. So before you're on the clock right now, you got to make a decision. One of those three. I take Neighbors. Really over Marvin. Let's hope we have that. This is a great gap now. Yeah, great problem to have.
Take Neighbors over Marvin. Now, mind you, Marvin, I think, well, he didn't quite have the quarterback in 23 as he did in 22. 22, he had the quarterback now, C.J. Stroud, who plays for the Houston Texans, and it's turned out to be a really fine talent. But thought he kind of was more about protecting himself there last year. Didn't quite have the year he did in 22, quarterback or not. Then I just mentioned, those 54 touchdowns at quarterback LSU Jaden Daniels had. A lot of them went to Malik Neighbors, a big-time player here. And that's the wide receiver coach talking directly to the man who writes the check saying, I like him after talking to all three of them. They had them all three in a room asking him a bunch of questions, and he says, "I'm going to roll with Neighbors." Okay, so more from the Hard Knocks. More from the Hard Knocks here. Last night, Drake May talked about this before ad nauseum. Rumored to have offered a haul to New England to trade up and play. And they just could not get it done. You know, they simply could not get it done. But let's play Brian DeBall, the head coach there, going over actual quarterback hits in the draft. This is during the talk of moving up. Just 3 spots there, folks. Just 3 spots. And mind you, let me play this. Let me give you all the heads up here. We're talking multiple picks here. Multiple first-round picks. I just messed up all my notes here. For the 20, this is what it came out. That this is SI.com, also ESPN. Mike Reese from ESPN. The Giants offered their first-round pick, the 6th pick overall, their second-round pick, which has been at the top 10 in the second round, plus their first round in 2025 and their second round pick in 2025. That would have been a bunch of, man, that's huge. That's huge. Keep that in mind. Those are that is a lot of draft capital just to move up 3 little bitty spots here. Okay. But there's been quite a few busts in the draft over the past 10 years, and Brian DeBall and company, the head coach and the manager there, and a lot of the assistants will go over this, and hey, it ain't good. But this is what myself and Carlos have did over the years, okay? This is Pickles watches the show all the time. This is what I've been talking about. It can be a crapshoot. It really can be a crapshoot. So listen up. If I can find it, it's in here somewhere.
That's when the boys cracked on that second hut. That's when the boys cracked.
Would you trade it for May? You got a guy you believe in? I think you go up and get.
Assistant saying, "Yeah, I like May."
Invest in Daniel. Hopefully, he's healthy. The O-line's a little bit better. What we're missing
That's
is number 1 receiver.
Joe Sheehan.
Daniel, but you're going to miss out on that. I remember we could get one at 47.
So basically, in the last, 3?
Brian DeBall, head coach.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the 8 quarterbacks on different teams. Or you could have the 2020 class be Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Jordan Love. That could be this year's class. Who knows?
And Jordan Love is on the clock to get a big contract. I talked about that on yesterday's program. Okay. Jordan Love, Herbert, Tua. Man, that's a bunch of hits right there. And Jalen Hurts. That's one draft. You never know when you're going to hit 7s, Pickles, or you can hit snake eyes. But listen up over the years.
Burrow, same coach. Tua has had a different coach. Love has had the same coach. Yep. Herbert has had multiple head coaches.
Let's go to the last 10 years of pro football. 2014, Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, and Teddy Bridgewater. 2015, Jim.
All second-rate guys and a flat-out busted Manziel there in 2014. You just never know. Listen up more.
Winston, Marcus Mariota. 2016, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Paxton Lynch. 2017, Mitchell Trubisky, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. 18, Baker Sam, Josh Lamar. 19, Kyler, Daniel. 20.
The other Josh was Josh Rosen, a total bust. But then you had Josh Allen. And then you had a guy at the end of the first round was Lamar Jackson. What a crapshoot.
Tua, Justin, Love, Lawrence, Wilson, Lance, Fields, Jones, Pickett, Bryson Stroud. How many of them hit in the last 10 years? Are we doing this? A lot.
They said not a lot. Not a lot of. And Pickle says, your character, how hard is this guy willing to work? How hard is he willing to work? And does he fit what your coaching staff wants to do? Or is the coaching staff flexible enough to put the offense, like an Andy Reid, to put the offense around this particular strengths? You know, and they mentioned all the coaches that Justin Herbert's a mega talent, folks. He's a mega talent. That's why I expect big things out of Justin Herbert this year. Now that he's got blocking up front and he's got Jim Harbaugh. He's got a good offensive coordinator there. I expect big things. Even them being stripped down with those receivers. Mark my word. You mentioned all those coaches here, multiple coaches there for Justin Herbert. A running back coach, and a guy that was way over his head, was not even ready to be a head coach, Brandon Staley there. Now he's got Jim Harbaugh. Let's see how Herbert fares now. You know, the sky's the limit for that guy. So anyways, so you got that soundbite here. Then you got John Mara. John Mara says, listen, I'm a little concerned. This is the owner. I'm a little concerned about trading up so far. You know, we've done it before 20 years ago to get a quarterback. And he talks about everything involved there. But don't let me let the soundbite speak for itself. This is the owner and assistant. I think Brandon Brown is the assistant general manager with the New York Giants. Listen up.
Normally I would be absolutely fine because we're in a great position. I'm just nervous about giving away too much cover in QB. Very similar to 20 years ago.
20 years ago, Ernie Accorsi was in Joe Shane's chair and made a draft day trade for a quarterback that changed the franchise's fortunes.
The San Diego Chargers and the New York Giants have exchanged their
Balls
draft
Taglaboo,
picks.
Pickles. Commissioner.
Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers. And also the Giants are assigning to the Chargers their third-round pick in this draft and their first and third-round picks in next year's draft.
The Giants gave up a whole bunch of that, didn't they?
And that guy said, that gentleman that says the Giants gave up a whole bunch for that. The Giants, mind you, 20 years ago, back in April, 20 years ago, Pickles, traded from number 4 to number 1 because Archie Manning did not want Eli playing for the San Diego Chargers, right? But if you've listened to that guy who said that, Ben Roethlisberger. Now, mind you, Ben Roethlisberger went on to win 2 Super Bowls as well. They could have got Ben at 4, but he played at a small college, Miami of Ohio. That goes with how much heart, desire does a player really have. And he had a chip on his shoulder. He knew he was better than what he was. Kind of reminds me now, if you fast forward to a player now, Josh Allen per se, who came from Wyoming, did not come from a big major school. But the owner talks about the thinking that went along behind that. More from that soundbite. Just like to pause and give you a little context because these are long sound bites. Listen up.
For giving too much. There is no price that's too high if you're right. But you better be ready.
What was like the shit? I feel good about this.
I mean, Ernie was absolutely sold out. I think he kept hammering home to us because he's playing at Ole Miss without a really good supporting cat. And he's still making play after play. What drew us to him more so than Roethlisberger was just playing in the SEC versus playing in a smaller school.
I was gonna ask you that. Was there like, because you've been through it so much, you've
seen all the guys over the year who have had all this allure, fan favorite, and then didn't pan out, versus, you know, you feel convicted, maybe everyone else doesn't, or the masses don't, and then once you get them, you're like, hey, this is going to be our guy for the next 20 years, 15 years. So some of those guys, they make it work on game day.
And of course, they got Eli for 15 years. And he talked about, if you caught that, we picked Eli over Ben because he played with virtually no help in a SEC school and still won games at Ole Miss. Looking back on it, though, they wouldn't have had to give up that additional 2 third-round picks and that first-round pick. Could Ben Roethlisberger have played under Tom Coughlin? That's the 64th. I think he could have. I think they could have had possibly a better run with Ben Roethlisberger because they would not have to give up that additional first-round pick, okay, the next year, and the 2 third round, the third round in 24 and the third. And it's a pretty decent trade, though, if you really think about it. They didn't. But that being said, what history would have been different if Eli would have went somewhere else? Would have Eli went to Pittsburgh at 11, which is eventually where Roethlisberger ended up. Let me double check that. Let me check that. I think I screenshotted that because I thought that was fascinating, Pickles. Okay, so we know Eli was drafted first. Robert Gallery second that year to Oakland. Rivers was fourth, okay? Roethlisberger, yes, he went 11th. So would Phillip Rivers go in 11th? Would he would have won a Super Bowl? Actually got a Super Bowl there. Okay. But I just don't know. I really don't, because the Chargers wanted somebody. The Chargers wanted a quarterback. Somebody would have been stuck with a quarterback. If Ben would have went to San Diego, would have won a Super Bowl? And probably so, because the Steelers would have had to give up a ton, to move from 11 to number 1 overall. So it's interesting the way things have worked out, but I do think that Roethlisberger could potentially had a better career. Could have potentially. Pickle says he could have fought. Now, if Ben went to San Diego, he could have really been into it with Marty Schottenheimer. So it's interesting the way that played out, is all I have to say. But either way, Pittsburgh got their rings, and so did the Giants, and the Chargers, unfortunately, were the Chargers. But they got a shot with this group they got now. But I think my whole point of this is that Mr. Mara thinks that we probably could have won with Ben. We probably could have won with Ben Roethlisberger and not give up those picks. Hindsight's 20/20. I get it, but remember, Bill Cowher's a pretty strict coach too, and him and Roethlisberger, they did coexist there. So I think they could have. I think they could have figured it out. I really do. But it's all history now. Very interesting there. We'll see how it works out for Drake May. And the flip side, if you are a team like going back to this past year's draft, if you're a team like a New England Patriots with all their holes, folks, the Patriots rumored to get Brandon Ayuk because they don't have a wide receiver. The Patriots not really having a lot of talent and explosiveness on their team. What if they would have taken that trade offer from the New York Giants, got their 6th pick, got their top 10 second pick, got a first round next year and a second round next year, and maybe they at 6, maybe New England takes Michael Penix, the quarterback out of Washington, who now we know went number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. How about that? And then you got the Patriots sitting there with extra picks coming up in the second round, and they've got more picks coming up next year. So they must have really been high on Drake May. Drake May had a good whiteboard session there with the Giants. So I guess he had it with I think his name is Elliott Wolf. That is like the son or grandson of Ron Wolf, the great former Green Bay Packers general manager. So I'm not in love with Jared Mayo, the head coach there, but maybe they got something there with Drake May, who a lot of people are thinking is very raw. So maybe he'll back up Jacoby Brissett for a year. But if he's just mediocre and Michael Penix is a star, that's a big ball drop there for the New England Patriots. Only time will tell, right, folks? Only time will tell. All right, see if I have any more. Good stuff, Pickles. I love this, man. I really do. It's such a learning experience getting that type of insight. Now, this last bit is very long. This is a long bite, but I play this bite coming up because it shows you what myself and the Mad New Yorker were talking about on draft night, to let you know here on SportsGo, we are not too far off from what the general managers who are making millions of dollars now are doing what we're doing what myself and Mad New Yorker did on draft night. Listen up. Long bite, but I'll stop and explain some stuff as we go.
So, excellent. So, before you're on the clock right now, you got to make a decision.
Wait a minute. Wrong bite. Here it is.
You know, we're at 6. Jaden Daniels or Drake May. I think they're both going to go at 2 or 3.
This is
New England's not going to trade out of there. I think
that's Joe Sheehan, the general manager, talking about possible scenarios if who drafts what. Let's think back to the draft back in April.
Taking Drake May. If those 3 quarterbacks are taken, we're going to stay at 6. If Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors are there, we're just going to turn the card in, high five, and we're going to have a number 1 receiver. If those guys go 4 and 5, Rome is there. We like Rome. We're all fans of Rome. Chicago has been in contact with me. They're at 9, looking to come up to 6. It would be.
That's what I talked about, that the Bears were really in love with Omoduze. I thought he would have been off the board because I thought Neighbors would go to the Chargers, which he didn't. And the Giants would take Odunze, which they did like, but the Neighbors was still on the board. They like Neighbors a little bit better. So just a little heads up there. And of course I was right. The Bears went on and took, obviously, this is before the draft. The Bears did take the wide receiver out of Washington. All right. More from general manager Joe Sheehan on scenarios in the draft. The Giants.
And we would give them back a 5th. If Chicago calls me and tells me they are coming up for a tackle, let's say it's Joe Hall, we move back to 9. They go tackle. Tennessee's at 7. Everybody thinks they're taking a tackle.
Of course.
So it goes tackle. You're sitting at 8 now. They don't have an outside backer or rusher. So they're probably taking Dallas Turner. They're probably taking Dallas Turner or Latu from UCLA.
That's exactly who I had them mocked at. Latu from UCLA, who actually went before Turner, as I predicted, but he didn't go to the Falcons because the Falcons, who I liked all along, took Michael Penix, more from Joe Sheehan on scenarios.
So now you're at 9, and you get Rome, or if, let's say, somebody wanted to trade up, which we've talked to a lot of these teams back here, they're not real fired up, but say somebody traded up to 8 and took Rome or Bowers, you're getting Rome or Bowers, one of the 2 at 9, and you're picking up a 3rd and 4th round pick. This is only
that would have been huge.
Neighbors and Harrison go 4 and 5, which all indications are if the Chargers stay, they're going to take a tackle, then we would just stay. We would take Malik Neighbors or Marvin.
That's not the question. George would take it was the Eagle receiver.
Yeah, that's why I'm going through this. Because if I thought it was 100%, then I wouldn't even be. I'd feel very confident we're just going to take Malik. And now somebody could trade up to 5 and take Malik as well. That's a possibility. Just the teams behind us I talked to weren't really fired up to move up. And again, this is without J.J. McCarthy going.
On the right end, I was talking to Nick, Joe.
Yeah.
This last guy talking here is Brian DeBall talking about Nick Saban.
Hey, who's, the last couple of years, give me the guys in this draft, your top 3. But there's 2 skill guys that are fucking problems. And they were problems when we played them. Big time problems. First one is Malik. He fucking went off on him. And then Bowers was the other one. It's like, fucking guys were problems.
The same 2 guys that I've been talking about for over a year now, particularly Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia, who smoked Alabama. I apologize about the language here. But, and of course, Malik Neighbors. And obviously, Bowers fell down a little bit farther to the Raiders. And Neighbors, this is before the draft, we know, went to the New York Giants. I played all that because that is about almost exactly what I've been breaking down here on the Real Sports Scope here. So very good stuff there. I hope that they continue to do this. I love this. I like this Hard Knocks better than any of the other Hard Knocks. I like this way better. This is more fan insight than watching some player, some borderline player may or may not make the team and all that crap. That's kind of played out. Fans want to know this kind of inside stuff information. It's good for fantasy. You kind of get an idea of what the coaches think and management thinks. And then if they screw up the next year, you know who to hold accountable. So what the bleep were you thinking there? Great stuff here, folks. Great stuff. Okay. Moving on. Okay, I gotta go to the NBA story here. NBA inks a massive TV deal, folks, with let me get all this squared away. The NBA, Andrew Marchand is the first I read about this. He is a media guy, sports media guy for The Athletic. The NBA has officially inked a 11-year, check this out, 11-year NBA WNBA, but mainly NBA, right? $77 billion deal with ESPN, NBC, and TNT. TNT did match the offer that Amazon made, the multi-million-dollar. I don't know what the actual number is. Mind you, TNT did match Amazon. TNT, with inside the NBA, the best pregame, postgame show out there, probably, I would say, better than these NFL shows with Barkley and Shaq. Now, Barkley has already said he's going to retire after next season. Well, next season is going to be the last with TNT. This is in 2025, folks. This is not next year. This is not October, excuse me. It's this year. It's not this year. Okay. But reports are TNT is threatening to sue the NBA because they didn't accept their match. Okay. A legal battle between networks and league, according to sources, briefed the deal. The forthcoming agreements of ESPN, NBC, Amazon are not set to begin in 25 and 26. TNT could go into the season under final contract with the league, specter of suing the league and covering. The agreement announced Wednesday today included the WNBA, folks, which is expected to receive $2.2 billion over 11 years. That's a lot of money. I think that's banking on, and I've heard others say that maybe they should have gotten $4 billion. But I think this Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark thing is going to be real. They're actually going to start turning a profit. So the WNBA is part of this. TNT Sports, according to sources, this is from The Athletic. Briefed on the matter, has honed in sights on Amazon's streaming-only agreement, which includes playoffs, 6 conference finals, and an in-season tournament, and regular season action. Amazon's deal for, here's the numbers, $1.93 billion per year, according to sources. Briefed on precise numbers, Amazon will also air WNBA. Neither side will likely want to enter a legal case where private conversations can become public during discovery. If TNT does not file a suit, it could lead to more talks and possibly compromise with other NBA rights or financial possibilities. That's what I think will happen. I don't think they're going to go to court. Both sides have been preparing for this scenario for a while. TNT Sports CEO and parent company Warner Brothers. By the way, Clay Travis is he's in politics now, but he's a lawyer and he's a former sports guy, talk show host. He thinks that the Amazon's net worth is over $1 trillion. They could simply buy Warner Brothers and do it that way. That could be an option. He mentioned that. Both sides have been preparing for this scenario for a while. TNT's parent, Warner Brothers, David Zaharoff, has publicly stated that the network has the right to match The Athletic. First reported on its earnings call this week. NBC parent company Comcast said the deal for the NBA and WNBA games is most part completed. NBC will have 6 conference finals over the next 11 years. A heavy amount of playoff games. NBA on NBC. Remember that? Dun, 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 dun. Hopefully they get their old beat back, Pickles. All All-Star games on Mondays during the regular season. Peacock, which I'm not a fan of, will exclusive games streaming on doubleheader on Monday evenings throughout the season, while Tuesdays and Sundays NBC will showcase all the other games. ABC and ESPN will continue to hone the finals. It will have conference finals in 10 of 11 seasons, plus playoff and regular season games. Pay $2.5 billion per year, $2.6 billion, shade less than 2.7 of the NFL. All those extra games and just a little bit. NBA and NFL still paying more. The WNBA deal includes a number of changes, perhaps the most notable. The WNBA finals and league semifinals will rotate, with Disney airing 8 semifinals, 5 finals, and Prime Videos and NBCU each distributing 7 semifinals. That's WNBA stuff. Okay. Amazon. Did some traveling this year, went to Tampa, personal story. And it was hard in the motel room to find my cable stations. I could not get on FanDuel. Okay. Used to live outside of Nashville. Lived in Wilson County for a while with roommates and stuff, folks. And I could not get certain channels, NBA TV. Remember, Pickles, at one time, Charter, you could not get NBA TV in those counties. Now in Davidson County of Nashville, Xfinity, you can get NBA TV. Once I moved back here, my place here in Nashville, you can get NBA TV. So my point is that the streaming service, as a fan, when you have Amazon and you get a smart TV and you move, or say you're traveling to another country, or you're traveling to a state that may not carry that particular, they may have a cable issue with TNT or whoever, and you might not be able to get that station. But if you got that out there, you got that Amazon out there, and you want to watch the game, say if you're in the military and you want to watch the game, you're in some overseas, God knows where, and whatever outlet you've got does not got ESPN or TNT. There's something wrong with it. But you've always got that out there. You can, and that's what the NBA is thinking here. So you kind of look at it from that perspective. The Amazon app, you could check the game out anytime. You know, I couldn't find it when I was in my motel in Tampa for a few days, looking around for a place, possibly relocating. And I couldn't find any of the cable stations. You know, I got bored. I could find some of the playoffs. The playoffs just started. Orlando, I forgot who they were playing. I want to say they were playing Cleveland, a 7-game. That was a good series, by the way. Orlando, I did finally find that game, right? So after that game went off, I couldn't sleep. But I had my Netflix app on. I watched the Unfrosted movie. It's a funny scenes movie, but it's not a good movie overall. With Jerry Seinfeld movie put together about the Pop-Tarts. It's really funny in certain spots, you know. But the thing about the streaming apps, you can take them anywhere. You could take so I guess, yeah, you got the ESPN app, but the ESPN app doesn't air everything that I understand. The ESPN Play, it doesn't get everything. You know, the Amazon app, the Netflix app, which I have them both right here on this phone, you can get all. Maybe the future is you can get an NBC app, you know, and you can just watch it wherever you need to. Or if you got your smart TV, you can just put it on there. And say if you move to a different state and you have a problem like a charter or whatever problem, but you still have those apps on your TV, as long as you've got the internet through your cable, which everybody pretty much provides, then you can watch your game. So that's kind of a good thing to have about the apps, if you ask me, about the streaming part. Okay. The other part that I don't like about it is you got it too spread out. Pickle says that corporate greed in America is ridiculous. So that part, you having them spread out like that, I don't care for. But if you could find a Westwood One radio, that would save your rear end if you're a military guy. See, me, I used to do security before college and slightly after college and have to set out in a guard shack, God knows how many hours, overnight hours, second shift out, when a lot of the big games came on, per se. I would have died to have killed to have an opportunity back in them days. The technology wasn't quite out with the smartphones then, 15, 20 years ago. To be able to watch the games on my phone clear like that, you know, to help pass the time between my rounds and stuff, being able to watch the games. Sometimes you can't find all the games on Westwood One, like if you're in Nashville, for example, 15, 20 years ago, these stupid stations, they've gotten wise now, but these stupid stations, they would put on local basketball, college games, god-awful games over a national championship level game or an NFL playoff type of game that I'd be missing. You know, one year I could not find the national championship game, which was instead they got some local nonsense. Belmont Pickles at one time, a basketball team playing in the middle of the college football. Could not find that on the radio. Give the viewers what they want. So that's, you know, that it's a good option to have on your phone if you're working on there. And the hotels are just, you cannot get everything out of these hotels, man. They just, it's hard to find anything on them, and don't nobody know anything about it. I'll stay in a pretty nice hotel too, pretty nice Holiday Inn, high end, well over $120-something a night. But either way, to have it streaming like that would probably be better overall, looking way ahead. If you could just have it there on your phone or on your smart TV as you move into different markets and whatnot. You know, food for thought there. It's a big deal. I do think TNT will probably sue these guys, but who in the heck knows? TNT says we have matched the Amazon offer as this contractual right to do so and do not believe the NBA can reject it. In doing so, they are rejecting the many fans who continue, which TNT, what they should do is say, hey, we'll just get us an app too. You can watch it on the TV or you can watch it on the app. That's what they should do. But that's just me thinking out loud. Continue to show the unwavering support for their best-in-class coverage delivered through full combined reach of WBO first video distribution partners and yada, yada, yada. We look forward, however, to another great season in NBA. Yeah, so they're probably going to do – they're going to go battle. And the NBA is pretty greasy. The NBA is pretty greedy. People says the greed will bury them, and it very well may. If you keep making it where we can't find the games, I'm going to get exhausted and find something else to do with my time. You know, that's my thing. I'll mess around and find something else to do. I'll get frustrated. I didn't watch the Peacock playoff game last year. I didn't watch that. I didn't watch the Chiefs and Miami last year. I mean, you know, it was a crappy game anyways, 28-7. But I watched something else during that game. I took some time off. Okay. Interesting story here. Deshaun Foster. This is kind of a funny one, but also this is a teachable moment. You wonder why I've got so many notes here, and I'm always looking down on my phone. It's got my notes on it. I've got my sound bites here. I've got multiple magazines. This is a $25, $30 Phil Steele magazine. The college football Bible is what some people call it. Is because I don't like to wing it. My mind gets cluttered with stuff. I think I can just go out there and say it and be done with it. But I realize you can't do that. It's good to either have too much notes than none at all. You can do some ad-libbing, but it's better to just have your written stuff down and say what you can. Not everybody can ad-lib it like that. I know I can. I can ad-lib some things, but I like to write my thoughts down. Now, if I do write my thoughts down, most of the time I can just remember it because I wrote it down. I was telling my dad the other day that if I write down everything I want to get at the grocery store in my organizer here, most of the time I won't even have to look at it. Or I'll look at the organizer. The thought will already be in my head. Okay, I got to get some apples. I got to get a loaf of bread. I've got to get peanut butter crackers. I've got to get some soups and some regular crackers, yada, 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 right? I look down and they're right there on my list. So here's Deshaun Foster, former NFL, former UCLA running back, used to play for the Carolina Panthers, if you all remember. He's a pretty good player, running back there. Here's him trying to wing it in his opening press conference at UCLA, and it don't sound good, Pickles. It don't sound good. Listen up. If I can find it here. Okay, I found it. Oh, let's see.
Coach Foster, welcome to the Big Ten. We'll begin with your opening statement.
Big Ten Media Days.
How you guys doing? I'm happy to be here. Glad to be a part of this great conference. Finally putting two great emblems together, UCLA and the Big Ten. We're a school that's won, 123 championships, so this fits us being right in this conference. Football-wise, we're just excited. You know, I'm sure you guys don't know too much about UCLA, but our football program, but we're in LA. It's us and USC. We
oh man, is that awkward, man?
I'm just basically excited, really. That's it. Any questions?
Hit a second.
12 seconds of dead air there. I mean, he is just ML Football, this website, this site I follow, it says UCLA head coach Deshaun Foster first media day was a disaster. One of the worst opening statements ever. You could tell he just went blank. He went totally blank there. I think he memorized those championships that UCLA won. And you could tell he's looking forward like I'm looking at you right now. He's not looking at any notes. It's always good to do your homework and simply just have notes right there in front of you. I want to thank so-and-so AD. Our players have came in. They're all in great shape. Some of them are not. I'll put that on me. And just have your little bullet point notes there. I tell you what, a lot of the great coaches make it look easy. Nick Saban made it look easy. Belichick didn't say much, but he knew if you asked him something in detail, he'd give you an answer. He'd give you an answer there. So I hope Deshaun Foster, he's nervous, nothing to see here. This man is so hyped up, he got nervous. He got nervous because he did not have any kind of notes there. Don't try to wing it, I guess. Do your job is what that's what Belichick would say, man, right? That's what the great Belichick will say. So anyways, folks, I'm getting here towards the end. Oh, by the way, CeeDee Lamb's a holdout. In other news, he's holding out. The media's covering it, but a lot of the media knows what Jerry Jones is going to do. I mean, between today is what, the 24th? By next week, CeeDee Lamb will be making 32 to 34 million. He'll have one of those massive contracts with Dallas. Now, if I'm Jerry, I would not hold out too long. You don't want a player holding out too long in a situation where you're going to sign. They're going to sign CeeDee Lamb. And then of course you owe 60 to Dak Prescott per se, because you don't want him, hurting his hamstring during training camp and whatnot. You don't want nothing like that to happen. They're not going to play hardball with him. That's not Jerry Jones. You know what Jerry Jones is going to do, but that is there. Brandon Ayuk, he's a hold-in guy. He's not getting. He's like Jordan Love. That deal will get done, I believe. I believe that deal will get done within the next week as well. So it is what it is. It is a business, and they're going to pay him. They're going to pay, and I know Jerry. That's why I didn't really put a lot of time into it. So here in the next 15 minutes or so, I will be on Scott Morgenroth's South Florida Tribune channel there. You can find it on YouTube. I'll be on his show there for about 30, 45 minutes or so, talking about he's going to ask me a few NBA questions. We may talk about that media rights thing. And he's going to ask which Tennessee, which UT is the real UT. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's the University of Tennessee. It's not Texas, according to history. But we'll go into that. Got a few of the things we may touch on. He's probably asked about, the hard knock stuff and whatnot that I've been talking about. We'll have some notes there. So check out that if you want to stay on. Other than that, I'm going to have to get off here. Hopefully, I've sent him a text. I'll have Mad New Yorker supposed to be on tomorrow, Thursday's program. If you don't, I'll have plenty of other stuff I want to get into, including the college football game. And I could potentially have next week a mystery guest who is a huge, huge internet sensation. I'll put it this way. She has 1.5 million TikTok followers. A saying, a slogan she says has been trending all over X for the past week. I'm trying to work out an interview with this young lady. I'm not going to say who she is, but I have a mutual friend. We're trying to work out an interview with her, ask her about our local team and whatnot. She's from here in Tennessee and nationally known person. Mystery person there, Pickles. Mystery person. Yeah. 130-something catches for CeeDee Lamb. Pickles says, yeah, Lamb is his numbers are right there with Jefferson's, and him being with Dallas, Jerry's going to bite. If they trade him, now that's news. That'll be something we'll dig into, but they're not going to do that. I thought they should have traded Zeke Elliott, which they should have at the time a few years ago. Instead, what'd Jerry do? Nah, he gave Zeke a lot of money and regretted it later. Don't think he will with CeeDee Lamb, but we'll see. We'll see. So if you like the show, share the show. Either way, I'll be back on here tomorrow, same time, same place, here on the Real Sports Scope. Have a good night, everybody.